action. So in comparing these two areas, we'll start with location as the first category. Lake Nona is about 10 minutes to the airport, which is pretty sweet, about 26 minutes to Magic Kingdom, which can be longer depending on traffic, I will say, and you're about 26 minutes to downtown, believe it or not, even being 22 miles or so away. In Winter Park, you're still about 20 minutes, not that much, considering that the miles from Winter Park to downtown is about 6 instead of 22, but that's our local roads for you. You're about 45 minutes to Disney and about a 30-minute drive to the airport. Both areas, at least for Orlando standards, aren't really bad with proximity whatsoever, but Lake Nona does benefit from having the 417 nearby, whereas with Winter Park, you're really using a lot of the local roads, and to get to Disney, more than likely you're gonna be using I-4, which you do have the I-4 Express up to a certain point that you can hop on to save some time, but nonetheless, I-4 is I-4. Both areas are gonna have everything you would need on a day-to-day basis, your grocers, your banks, your pharmacies, your gyms. Both areas are fairly developed, although Lake Nona does have much more of a runway in regards to future development, and I will touch on that in the future category towards the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. Demographically speaking, according to citydata.com, you're looking at a majority owner to renter population, no surprise there, and they have two of the highest median household incomes in all of Central Florida, and so you're looking at two of the ritziest areas to call home. At the end of the day though, it does matter what you prioritize in regards to location, but just on pure proximity, Lake Nona wins in this category. Let's now touch on schools. According to the FDOE, the Florida Department of Education, in Lake Nona, they are all A-rated schools. In Winter Park, you're looking at a mixture of A, B, and C rated schools between elementary, middle, and high, the only C being Edgewater High School. So if you are particular about your child or children being zoned for the A rated high school in Winter Park, which would be Winter Park High, then we'd have to be strategic on location selection for that proper zonage. Now in Lake Nona, what I will comment on, and I can't really comment on much when it comes to schools, is the public issue. You'll hear it if you do some research on overcrowded schools in the Lake Nona area. The schools haven't been built fast enough, and so you look at Winter Park High, where they're about 3,300 students strong according to the data from the FDOE, with about 150 teachers. You go over to Lake Nona High School, it's about 4,300 students strong, just 1,000 more, with not that many more teachers to teach, and so the ratio there right now is crazy. The good news is Innovation High is set to open this year in the Meridian Parks neighborhood, which is going to be just astronomical relief for the Lake Nona area. And so although at the time of this recording, overcrowding is a public well-known issue in Lake Nona for schools, I do not see this continuing in the future with the addition of the high school and a new middle and elementary school coming to the south side of Laureate Park. Now we're moving on to the retail things to do category. Winter Park wins. I'll say that up front. However, and I think I'm the minority here in this, Lake Nona has the potential to be even better than Winter Park. But over in Winter Park right now, you have everything. Like if you want great restaurants, a lot of the restaurants on the Michelin Guide are in Winter Park. If you want golf, you got golf. You want to just walk along in the different public parks or botanical gardens, you got that in Winter Park. If you want to shop, you have that in Winter Park with the Winter Park Village and some of the different boutiques all across town. Winter Park is the town locals go. Like it's a part of the fabric of Orlando, whereas in Lake Nona, it's sort of new. Everything is kind of new there, and that's not bad. You got the Chromas, the Park Pizzas, the Bacan, Haven's Kitchen, Nami. We can expand on that along with some of the unique things they already have, like a Drive Shack, like a Nona's Adventure Park where they host festival and you can do water sports. And you got the community park coming on the south side and the linear park. It comes to life as rendered. That would look amazing in the area. You got the new shopping center coming in. If they can actually get some retailers in there, that would be, I think Lake Nona definitely has like a lot to offer both now and in future if they make good on some of these promises in the retail department. But if we're looking at what's there right now, certainly Winter Park is more well-rounded in that aspect. Now moving on to the real estate, which is where I come in, and a quick reminder to say if you are looking to purchase a home in any of these areas, I'd love to help. Feel free to reach out, info@orlandowithmario.com. But looking over the past 365 days, in Lake Nona zip 32827, the average price was right around $793,000. Now over in Winter Park, with this combined zip codes of 32789 and 32792, average price was right around $797,000. So not that big of a difference there. However, if you separate by zip code and you wanted proximity closer to the main things in Winter Park, which would be 32789, you are now looking at an average price of just over $1.2 million. So a steep jump dependent on zip codes, which does again change school zoning and things of that nature. But what does the real estate actually look like in both areas? So over in Lake Nona, it is newer by virtue of it being a newer area, whereas in Winter Park, the historic charm of the area bleeds over into the real estate. And so there is for sure 100% a greater variance in architectural styles in Winter Park, which appeals to a lot of people. The other thing to note in Winter Park as well is less areas regulated by HOA. In Lake Nona, HOAs are your best friend or your worst enemy if you hate them. Now, a lot of people might question, why do you get so much less in Winter Park versus really anywhere else in Orlando? And that's because the value of Winter Park as it pertains to real estate is in the land. We can't make any more of it, and it's very few and far in between in Winter Park. I know lots that were walking distance to Park Ave that were going for the average price of the zip code right around 1.2 and even higher. And that's because it really does matter a lot to be close to the amenities in Winter Park. You're gonna wanna be looking over in the Lake Nona area to make that money stretch even further. But if that's not necessarily at the forefront of your decision making and the lifestyle of someone who lives in Winter Park jives with what you're looking for, Winter Park would be a fantastic spot to call home, and also fairly stable in regards to real estate price growth over the years. All that aside though, just based on sheer affordability, Lake Nona wins out. Last but certainly not least, we'll dive into the future developments category of both areas. Now, Lake Nona certainly wins out in this regard just because they have so much land left. Also, you do have projects already announced that are on the horizon. I talked about the One Performance Plaza before on the channel. You got the retail section coming in. They're supposed to be building out that whole midsection known as Midtown. Feel free to reference this video. I'll link it up in the cards where I talk about that more. You also have the more recently announced Lake Nona West Shopping Plaza on 54 acres to come. That is also going to be massive with grocers and retailers. Also, companies still continue to call Lake Nona their new home from whatever city or area in Florida that they're coming from. And I think that is a huge part of why Lake Nona has been as successful as it is, even though they've seen plenty of changes from the original master plan of even the town center. Because with the exception of Disney and the biotech company, they have been fairly successful in attracting some really nice companies to the area, which are high paying, which is why, again, one of the ritzier and more wealthy neighborhoods and areas of Orlando. And so as that continues into the future, I think it'll be even more successful, which will attract even more nicer niche retailers like we've seen with the different restaurants that they've planned for the neighborhood. Whereas in Winter Park, a lot of what you'll see is what you're kind of seeing now, which is redevelopment of existing areas. Winter Park Village, for example, where the facade of that area is transforming into this really high-end looking area, and it attracted some really cool new retailers as well to that area. And so that is sort of what you'll see going forward in Winter Park. Hopefully this video helped you somewhat. And again, if you are looking to purchase a home in Winter Park or Lake Nona or anywhere in Orlando, I would love the opportunity to partner with you as your real estate agent. So feel free to shoot me an email, info@orlandowithmario.com, or if you want to call, text, or book a time convenient to you to chat, all that can be found in the description down below.